Welcome back to the SMITE Console League. Finch here, joined by Taco. We're happy to have you here with us. We're still in Europe, but now we're taking a look at Xbox, and what a big matchup this is. Really, there's all kinds of implications from this one. This is Rival going against Dobbos Disciples, and put aside that this is teams that have traded a bunch of rosters and a rivalry that's been made up for like a year and a half here now. I mean, Dobbos got to win this game, or their chances of making MSI are just over unless Dobbos have a true collapse later on.
And that's going to be a tough one to come by as well. This is not going to be as clear-cut as we're making it possibly seem, but Dobbos Disciples really only have this one chance, I think, Finch, for Rival to crumble here, because relying on Team Ricardo or EP to get the job done, I think, is a little bit out of the question right now.
This is definitely the last chance for Dobbos to keep the fates in their own hand. And you can see they're struggling in a +-2, so this is not going to be easy for this team. They absolutely need to win this, get this win, and then be clean for the rest of this phase. They want to try and be the one that makes it. You know, we're taking a couple SML teams, but really only the top team from each one of these console regions is the one that gets to go to that mid-season invitational, and you know everyone wants to get there to try and show how strong these teams are. But I mean, how much more can we say about this Rival team? I thought losing Fly and Coast would hurt them a lot more than it did, but they still look really strong.
Rival has managed to, I think, pick up the pieces of what was left behind and still form a very solid powerhouse team over in Europe for the Xbox guys. But I think more importantly, the storyline that we really have to follow every single time with this Rival squad is the simple fact that they have Predators and Rapio time and time again. I think that these two have been really landmark players for this squad.
They really have been. I mean, what pieces to be left behind, right? Rapio, Predators, and DineOhSaw, the guys that got it done on Rival all of last year, is truly like the uncontested top team in Europe console. And really, they were up there along with Astral, you know, whatever name they were under, as just the top team on console in general. So these guys have plenty of experience, not just playing at the high level, but playing at the highest stakes. And then they got in Dobson, they got in Davey, and these guys have absolutely stepped up for them. I think there are some times when they play up against Dobbos where you can kind of tell that it's not quite the same guys that they used to have, but for the most part, they've absolutely been stepping up and getting the job done.
I think Davey has hugely stepped up for this Rival squad. I think even if you were to ask me to compare Davey's initial debut of his time in console competitive play, I would be like, yeah, you know, he's okay. He's got some mechanics, but he needs to, you know, kind of smooth things out a bit. Well, this is him not keeping it rough around the edges any longer, and I think that Vaporish is going to have to be careful here in this matchup today. I know that Vaporish tends to get the better end of Davey for the most part. He does that to every single Hunter player in the console league right now, but I don't think that it's safe to say that this is going to be a free laning phase for the pair.
Not at all. All I can say is that there's going to be action here because Dobbos love to try and have some action. Of course, it's hard not to start with Vaporish Coast, right, with this team, because he so often is that engine for what they do well. And you're right, he's going to be looking for aggression here in the dual lane. Davey is going to need to be really careful to make sure he doesn't end up getting isolated. But it's not just Coast. This team is stacked with talent. Colossxl's really impressed me with the way that he's been able to play for this squad. Fly, of course, is right up there as one of those elite players too, who's going to cause another problem. So the Dobson and Fly matchup continues to be critical here in this game. And then what's going to happen over there with Predators and USB? How's that solo lane matchup going to go as well? There's a ton of questions and threads that you have to follow in this set.
I think as far as the solo lane is concerned, it's going to come down to primarily team fighting for both of these squads.
Right.
I think that when you look at a lot of console teams, you can kind of base things around the laning phase for the most part, but when you come down to these two fairly experienced teams, like there's veterans on both sides of the spectrum, that I think it's fair to say that these teams kind of understand this isn't really about the laning phase any longer. It's purely objective, it's purely team fighting potential, and I think that we can expect to see the drafting phase kind of lean towards those aspects as well.
Well, let's go into the bans and picks. How do you like it if I say it backwards like that? Does it grate the ears?
Well, technically it's not backwards because the bans do
y'all are
happen
saying it
first,
backwards,
and then the picks take place.
It should be bans and picks. Oh, well, it's too colloquial at this point. Let's go to the picks and bans then. Thanks for putting it up anyway, Jared, and bearing with me. Rival going to be in that first pick spot here. And I want to bring up that Osiris has kind of been relevant now. He's kind of risen up in the SPL. We've seen it, and that has dropped down here in the SCL as well. And to me, Predator is someone who would have picked Osiris even when he wasn't good. He'd have picked Osiris and just dove the backlines no matter what. He's known for sometimes going so far beyond that you don't even know if it's part of the plan. Is he just diving and throwing his life away? And Osiris is someone that can absolutely do do that well. Which one of these solo laners can adapt to that the best could be important here too.
I think if I'm Rival, though, I'm definitely looking to prioritize a solo laner like the Osiris or the Bellona, something that can harass a carry, because Dobbos Disciples, you already know where one of their heavy hitters is at. It's Vapor's Coast in the dual lane, so why not start yourself off strong in team fights and get something that can continuously afford to dive him and survive?
Did we mean to give Dobson Merlin here? Did we mean for that to happen?
It's a possibility. It's not a guarantee, but, well, okay, I'm trolling. It's a guarantee.
Well, that is scary. I mean, Dobson might not be fly, but my man's still pretty damn good, and Merlin's pretty good too, so he'll certainly be able to get the most out of this character. But this is Rival kind of putting Dobbos in that position where they had to make the difference. If you have to give a character who can carry the game to either Predators or Dobson, I think you do kind of have to pick Dobson in that situation. You just don't have a choice, and they ban him with the Achilles because you just can't let Predators have that. That does mean, though, Achilles gets to come through. I'm thinking that one's going to Colossxl, and then Osiris has to be for USB in that solo lane.
Dobbos Disciples are like, hey, it's fine. You guys can have the Merlin. We'll just take two big guys that the Merlin's going to have to deal with throughout the duration of the match.
Are those guys good at sitting on the mobile mages?
Site,
Are they good at that? Yeah.
They might be just a little bit. Just a little bit, you know. Even the Hachiman, I mean, even with the mounted archery, I could still expect to see this Hachiman having a pretty tough time when looking to escape from the Achilles and Osiris. So already a pretty solid front line has been formed for Dobbos Disciples, but more importantly, two of the best solo laners that I think could be spent harassing Vapor's Coast instead are now going to have to be, you know, on Dobbos Disciples teams.
That's a great point. This also works to kind of limit the pool that's available for Predators too, because they'll almost certainly get a chance now to ban Bellona on the backswing. I wonder if they'll look towards Jormungandr as well, because Predators can definitely play that pick comfortably well. So it's a lot. If they do want to try and limit what the solo lane can do, they might have a little bit more work cut out for them as a Ram rounds out the draft for Dobbos. I wonder if even a Fafnir might potentially be on the cards here for this team. Maybe that's something they want to give over to Switch in that support role. There's a lot to consider in these bans and picks here. I'm going to stick to that for some reason. I've planted my flag for these two teams to consider.
I do think it's a little bit interesting, though, that Dobbos Disciples would still choose to target ban this Wheelish from Rapio, because there isn't really any hard setup for this Wheelish as is, and even with the Merlin, Hachiman, Ninja, I'm still not seeing much knock-up. Like, no one there is going to be able to knock anybody up for Rival to really look to punish that. So I have to assume that maybe it's Dobbos Disciples taking the initiative to strip away a pick that would have probably been used for a Jormungandr-based composition in case that was the direction that Predators did want to go in. Rival might be looking to switch that choice up now, because Jorm isn't really going to be nearly as effective without the secondary piece to complete that kind of setup.
I think that's what it is. They're expecting that the next best solo laner is likely the Jormungandr, so they don't want to give them that Wheelish synergy into that. So that's probably a great ban, and it absolutely was going to be the Jorm, so that's really heads up there from Dobbos. But they grabbed themselves the Janus here on this team to give over to Fly. This is something Fly can pilot very, very well here for Dobbos. Gives him a ton of mobility. You already mentioned how the Achilles Osiris are going to be harassing the backline as it was. Now they got portals to get in and out with. Things are even scarier if you're a backline for Rival.
Not a half-bad response, though, from Rival, getting the Bots to try and deal with this Janus. Keep in mind, the Sacred Monkey Toss is going to be able to follow the Janus very much like how Susano would. But a hell to finalize things for Dobbos Disciples, some of the sustain, and I can't help but wonder if this might be the health support coming through for Dobbos.
I think it could be too. That's very interesting as they last pick this when there's no answer for Rival. A lot of threads to keep in your mind. Remember, Merlin does have a little tiny knock up there too. Could have been a little bit of synergy with the Wheelish, but doesn't end up mattering as they ban that one out. Taco, you got a one-word answer for me on who you think's winning this one? I mean, this is up in the air.
Dobbos looks so good.
Dobbos, it sounds like they're the ones at the hell, right? So maybe they can get it done. Either way, let's get this one over to the casters. Rival up against Dobbos is about to start.
Thank you, Finch and Taco, Aggro, and Toli on the call here for Game 1 of Rival and Dobbos Disciples. Toli, this is the big game of the week. I mean, these are the two vying for the top spot in the Xbox European region.
Only one of these teams will make it to the mid-season invitational. A lot of history between these two teams. Vapor's Coast formerly on that Rival side. Fly having a lot of experience fighting against Dobson. But a difficult matchup against the Merlin, and I think that's why he goes for this Janus style, trying to help out his teammates more than winning the 1v1 push pressure.
Fly, a longtime Janus player, so excited to see how he does in this one. Is a bit of a different start here for Dobbos Disciples, a little bit more SPL-esque with what's been going on in the Pro League. The support starting over in the solo lane. Switch very low on mana early on, but maybe if you get this blue, that could be remedied. But blue buff does go the way of Rival. Switch just kind of using his abilities or his auto attacks on Rapio. Doesn't end up getting the buff.
Unfortunately, the OverPoweredUSB wasn't quite there to follow that up. Going for the Sickle Strike instead of the Spirit Flail. That AoE extra damage might have been the pushing over the top edge to steal away that blue buff. But regardless, Predator's under his tier 1 tower is getting denied quite a considerable amount of gold. Can't really put pressure outside of that lane, but the dual lane, Vaporish Coast, having quite a laugh over there as DineOhSaw, his former support, missing that Naja Sash.
Yeah, that's classic Coast right there. Exactly what we expect from him. But he's going to actually have to head to the back camp. So with Switch over in the solo lane, this does make Coast very vulnerable over here in duo. Without invading that blue buff, though, it feels like Team Rival's ending up a little bit ahead.
Slightly, but Predators is still going to get bullied and pressured out. And if he could just get forced back under his fountain a little bit earlier, then the likes of OPUSB, that is a huge win. Vaporish Coast.
Ooh.
He's going to be laughing back to the grave after that one.
That was a 6 sash from DineOhSaw. If he's going to miss the first, I'd rather he hit that one anyways. That actually caught the roll from Coast. That ended up spelling his certain demise, but Davies' aggression certainly starts it off. So a good start for Team Rival, not only in killing the enemy before they can kill you, getting that first blood bounty, but also setting Coast a bit behind as their star player.
That's a perfect example of like somebody laughing first. It's like, how does that saying go? It's like that. Whoever laughs last gets
it's
the better
whoever. Oh, I don't even know that saying. I don't think it's something about laughing first. You don't get the last laugh. It's not about who laughs first. It's about who laughs last, or something along those lines.
The game is still very young, though. Only 2.5 minutes in. Still very early to call it for either side, but you could definitely tell there's a lot of tension in that duo lane between those two players. But Davey forcing it off with a great Hachiman dash, starting off the first stun. Not respecting it was Vaporish Coast. Held on to his beats for the entire duration, even throughout DineOhSaw's stun.
So now the Disciples down a little bit. Only about that first blood gold, but Rapio is in a really good spot. He's level 4, Colossxl just now, hitting up to level 3. We've seen so much Achilles play, Toli, but not that much in the jungle. It's been primarily in solo.
And it's something that we might see more and more, potentially, depending on how the picks are originating in the solo lane, right? Like, if we're seeing more Osiris, more Jormungandr in the solo lane, but you still need that kind of burst damage, you're looking for some executes maybe against the Khepri, I think Achilles is still going to be a great, solid pick. And he has a lot of damage, especially if you go for, like, Rangda's Mask, going for a lot of heavy burst damage with Hydra's Lament. Damage jungle Achilles is so scary to fight against.
Now switches over in the duo lane. He's back to his natural role. This Hell in the support role, we've seen some Hell have some success. Paul had a great game on it for SK, but this was that was in the mid lane. This is now in support. Why do you think that Hell looked like the right pick to Dobbos Disciples?
Against the composition from Rival, there's a lot of control damage from Dobson on the Merlin. A lot of AoE damage from Rapio, Predators. Maybe they want to fight that by getting the heals online. DineOhSaw can easily spread out that damage with the ring bounce. So if I'm Rival, I'm looking for anti-healing options because Hell from the support role is not going to be having that much magical power built in, so her healing numbers are going to be a little bit less.
Gang coming on the left-hand side. Coast in some trouble, does get Sash, and he's going to use the ultimate right away. Rapio just waiting on the ground at this point for the follow-up. There's Fear No Evil, and Coast holds onto the beads. He knows he's got no way out of that one. A 4-man gank on the left side of the map. Now, check out Colossxl. He's going to invade speed. Should probably be able to get these backs as they spawn as well. So not all bad for Dobbos Disciples.
You better get something when there's that big of a commitment onto one member in the duo lane. Normally, if your solo lane is getting ganked, you'd be getting the Gold Fury. But when your duo lane is getting ganked, you're stripping away the speed. It's still a little too early to get the Pyromancers. It's only 5 minutes into the game. So a good look now, shutting down the mobility of Rapio, stripping away his speed buff. And they're still pretty even in the Assassin's Blessing stacks, despite not getting all his jungle camps.
Predators looking for a potential invade on the blue. Rapio's on the way as well, but remember, he has no ultimate. USB just pretty poked out in this position, though. His Glad Shield helping him in that regard. Stun is there. Fly's ultimate a little bit off the mark. His Predators now going to take to the World Serpent ultimate. Going to do some harassment. He's got some shots with which to do it, but cannot secure the buff. Colossxl getting low, but not low enough. The Predators wants to commit. Dobbos does secure their own blue in an ult-for-ult trade that probably about even. Neither player, Fly nor Predators, has CDR yet.
Good discipline from Predators, being able to recognize the danger, immediately goes into the World Serpent once he sees that through space and time. And interesting pulling of the trigger from Fly a little bit early, as the action didn't really start there. A little bit antsy from that Janus mid, but better safe than sorry, at least creating some avenues of escape and entrances for himself, getting the own blue buff, helping out OPUSB, and forcing Predators in this weird early game Yorm, going for this Dynasty plate helmet, an item that we haven't seen quite often.
Yeah, Dimmy seems to like this one a lot on Yorm, in the solo lane in particular, but other than that, I don't think we've really seen it. It's cheap physical protection and magical power and magical penetration, so I guess it works for you, but OverPoweredUSB doesn't have any magical defense yet. He's gone for the Glad Shield, and as Osiris has come back into the meta, it seems like Glad Shield has been the default choice instead of Berserkers, which I think most people would have expected.
I don't mind it. A 5-second ability on your 1, 10-second cooldown on your 2, so 1 second off of that, half a second off of the first ability, getting about 2.5% health after every ability. I think is more sustained the shorter the fight is, as opposed to just sticking onto one target with a Berserker shield. Like, yeah, you lose attack speed, but honestly, if I'm an Osiris, I almost don't want attack speed because I don't want to burn through my passive that quickly after I get all 8 stacks.
Want to hold on to that as long as possible. Colossxl looking for a potential back harpy steal. Rapio really just content to stand and watch. Neither player getting any farm. Now DineOhSaw shows up and the fight is on. He's going to use that Windfire Wheels on a Colossxl. Through space of time's coming through, and he gets pulled through the portal, but still not enough. No purification beads for Colossxl. He went with the blink, so Dobbos Disciples jungler gets punished for standing in Rapio's face too long.
It looked like a game of chicken between these two junglers, but it was all a bait tactic because they just needed DineOhSaw to get there a little closer. Fly portal was just not enough to save the life of Colossxl with all that CC from the Fear No Evil. And I was looking back at the banning phase. That ban of the Willish was a little questionable. I'm surprised that wasn't either a Jormungandr ban or a Hunbat's ban, knowing how popular that jungler is in the console world. Instead, they were really afraid of the Jormungandr or Willish combination.
Something that Splice has looked very good with in the short amount of time that Jormungandr has been available, but you're right. I mean, that is a little bit odd, though Rapio's played a lot of a Willish in his time, and maybe they were considering some picks that had some leaps, so they decided to play it on the safe side, but then went the other way.
Well, they already had Rama as well, so like they didn't have any leaps for the first 3 picks, and they still picked non-leap characters despite banning away the Willish. I almost would have liked to see them ban away the Yorm if they're afraid of the Willish-Yorm combo as opposed to the Willish. But either way, still Rival with an early game lead. Not too much though. You would think it'd be a little bit more. Only 1,000 gold as we approach the 10-minute mark.
XP lead is really in the jungle more than anything else. Rapio's got a slight lead there, but it's felt like he's been pretty far ahead as DineOhSaw's found another target. Davey on the way. It's Switch who's in trouble. He gets stunned. The cleanse is there, but the healing not quite enough. Davey able to make sure that they get the kill on a Switch, and that's 4 in a row now for Team Rival. They're going to head back towards the Gold Fury with Fear No Evil still available. Dobson playing the Merlin. That's a lot of objective damage, but they seem a bit hesitant.
They don't want to start it yet, knowing that DineOhSaw and Davey doesn't have their ultimates. This hell for Switch is going to be an easy candidate for ganks because it's only a tier 2 helmet thus far. Defending his own speed buff is Rapio. Will confirm it. Dobson alongside of him. Colossxl can't really take advantage of the situation, and Colossxl tried everything in his power to help out Switch. A good stun, but in the left side, Porsche Coast in a 1v2.
Use that ultimate, nicely timed to get out of the CC immunity from the Sash. Snipes are on point as well on the Davey, but I think Rival's duo lane will take that because they just got the ultimate away from Coast for very little investment. Fly trying to invade the red all by himself, but he'll get it and sneak through the portal right on time. Easy for him to get out of that. Colossxl's been really interested in invading speeds pretty consistently. His build is all about the early game, early pressure as well. Talaria into Glad Shield. Usually we see a Crusher in that slot for most Achilles jungles.
Yeah, you want to get that attack speed to really synergize with Achilles. That's going for that shirtless passive. Since you already have mobility from that passive, you don't necessarily need Talaria boots. Going from 18% normally to 25% is nice, but Achilles covers that difference anyway, even if you are against a Talaria boots jungler.
Coast in trouble now. Davey rolling in, and Davey gonna get the solo kill on the Coast. He's got a big lead in XP and Devourer's Gauntlet stacked. It did cost him his Purification Beads, but he'll certainly take that one, a solo kill on the Vaporish Coast.
An important timed solo kill, stacking up the Devo gloves. Vaporish Coast is going to get delayed even further. Switch going to cover the lane so that the tower doesn't go down. The experience does get picked up, but Rival aren't interested in the Gold Fury despite finding that early kill instead. Looking for some more picks potentially on the right side of the map.
Colossxl has to be worried about that Fear No Evil. No beads for him still. He does have the blink, can get out of the danger. Rapio, on the other hand, I'm surprised that he didn't go for blink in this game. Doesn't need it here as he's right on top of USB without it. Jump after that Lord of the Afterlife. Fear No Evil's there, but Overpowered USB has the passive stack that is taking next to no damage from these characters. DineOhSaw threads the needle and ends up missing somehow.
You know what it is? It's Osiris passive. Your hitbox is just so much smaller than it normally is, so you expect to hit that ultimate, and DineOhSaw has been consistently hitting those ultimates this game thus far, but that time against Osiris passive, I don't fault them for missing.
Stun there from Davey on a Fly. Fly uses the beads and whiffs the Unstable Vortex. Now Colossxl in trouble. He's going to ult away, as Dobbos Disciples have had a real trouble mounting any offense.
I like that play from Dobson. Flickering in to try to get off more damage with the stance switch is a very uncommon tactic that we've seen from Merlins, because they're usually the ones getting engaged on, so they have to flicker away defensively, and trying to get away defensively is Predators without his ultimate.
I don't think he'll be able to do so with another slow. Should be coming up any moment now. Predators really locked in this lane, and USB does finally put Dobbos Disciples on the board. But look at this, Gold Fury started up and secured by Team Rival. Switch just could not get there in time, so as soon as it seems to be going well for Dobbos Disciples, they end up losing a big objective.
13 minutes in, Rival finally confirm it. Dobbos struggling a little bit, trying to make a play in the mid lane, utilizing this Hell level 9 sustain now, finishing off that Lotus Crown, but I don't think Rival necessarily care too much about it. Their tier 1 middle tower at its last legs. Even if they give that up, they'll still be up a considerable amount of gold, but the experience could be a different story now, as we're seeing the difference between not only the junglers, but also the supports. Getting to the level 12 marker is going to allow DineOhSaw maybe for an aggressive blink.
Look at the build from Overpowered USB. Glad Shield boots Berserker Shield, so he doubles up on the sustain, which normally would be, I would say it's expensive, it doesn't really work, but it is a lot of sustain. Here I like it even less, because you know the enemy team's going to be building anti-heal. You have a Hell on your team, so you're already going to be getting less value from your double shield option, and Colossxl's Glad Shield is getting less value as well.
Well, I think that he looked at the build from Rival thus far, and there's no anti-heal yet outside of the Brawler's Beatstick from Rapio. There's no Divine Ruin yet from Dobson. Predators didn't elect to go for the Pestilence. DineOhSaw's probably not going to be building into it, but he is going to be engaging.
Great ring toss from DineOhSaw, but again, going to be off the mark with that Windfire Wheels. Dobson there, but here comes USB around the back. Fear No Evil, necessity to keep Overpowered USB at bay, as Rapio dropped that ultimate just to make sure. Fly came screaming through with a through space and time of his own, but again, never found a home. Dobbos Disciples starting to group up a little bit now, and this is where that Hell is going to start to be felt. Is in this out of combat healing. Tier 1 tower goes down in favor of the Disciples.
Rival can't really fight into this now with Rapio and DineOhSaw's ultimate not available. Even without flies through space and time, all they need is switch. That 20 extra protections from the Lotus Crown to allow everyone from Dobbos that extra sustainability is going to come in clutch. Predators, though, trying to take out Colossxl, not going to invest that ultimate for the damage. It's going to allow Switch to top him off.
Man, plenty of damage, though, from Predators in that Bellow. second ability just does so much damage, especially now with that Stone of Binding. He's gone for a Sunder as well, so neither solo lane are particularly tanky at this point, I would say. USB is going to feel tankier because the damage mitigation from Osiris passive, and that is a huge deal for him. But Predators, I think, could be liable to getting burned, though I guess with Colossxl having 0 pen in the build, it makes it a little bit harder for him to do so.
Going for the Achilles. It's Colossxl trying to disrupt Dobson, diving the backline. Also going to keep him alive a little bit longer up against Predators. Not really going to stop him too much in his tracks as Rapio confirms the blue buff for Predators. It's going to be a matter of these supports. It's not even a blink from DineOhSaw. I love this relic selection. Going for the Cursed Ankh to shut down what Switch is trying to do. Always thinking about the counterparts as how a team separates themselves from the pact.
Yeah, I like this Cursed Ankh quite a bit as well. The Sunder, we'll see how effective it's going to be. I don't think I've had a game this year where I thought, wow, that Sunder made a huge difference for this team, but this could be the one where Predators uses it effectively. I guess USB is the one you want to be using it on. I mean, no one else is particularly tanky. Maybe Switch later on, but that seems like it's a bit a ways away from being super relevant against.
Especially when Rapio's Fear No Evil is going to last for almost 2 seconds at this point. About 1.5 on his ultimate, trying to lock down any individual target. Rapio hasn't really been able to get off multiple targets on that ultimate. He's been looking for picks here and there. He found that one pick onto Vapor's Coast on the left side, but then he's been using it defensively, trying to disengage from Dobbos Disciples that, despite being down gold and experience, they're feeling comfortable regardless because of the Switch Hell support. And they got the tier 1 mid tower as a result, but haven't been able to get much more than that yet.
5-1 Rival in the lead, much slower than our last console game, which had, what, 50 kills by 28 minutes or so?
That's right.
There was a lot going on. This one, a little bit more calculated, and Rival has been the beneficiary of that so far. A 3-level lead for Rapio now in the jungle as he's extended that lead, though Fly seems to have gotten an edge on Dobson in the farm department, so at least the Disciples have something that's a little bit more slanted towards them. Everywhere else seems to be XP, even or in Rival's favor in the case of Davey.
Golfier respawning in 20 seconds. Grouping from Rival, trying to see if they can catch Dobbos slipping, but they're well prepared for it. Different style of Hunter builds. Attack speed focus is Davey between Oboe and penetration on the Executioner. Vapor's Coast on the double sustain. Aussie immediately after the Devo gloves.
Sash on a Colossxl. He's going to use those purification beats. DineOhSaw going to find Switch, the exact target they probably wanted. He's isolated now, and Switch will hit the grave. DineOhSaw with some support on support violence. Predators trying to chase out Coast, and he'll do so successfully, at least for the moment. But now it's Davey under siege from OverPoweredUSB, who's just taking his pick of the litter. The level 16 Osiris running him down. Double stun there from Colossxl as USB continues to go over the top onto DineOhSaw. Not a lot of follow-up quite yet, and finally Fly will come in and finish it off. Coast under siege on the backside from Predators. He's going to use his ultimate just to delay.
Still trying to survive a little bit longer under the tier 2 tower, realizing Davey was there. Fatal Strike had to be used defensively. Now, between a rock and a hard place, Colossxl, no blink available despite being out of combat for 2 seconds, just delaying the inevitable.
Got some damage off as the Gold Fury started. Coast was able to survive, but here comes Predators around the back. They definitely heard that. Right? Right? Gold Fury goes down. It's Oni, actually, and it does go to the Disciples. They may have heard it, but didn't need to worry about it, apparently. Predators still in some trouble, but Rapio's looking for the backliners. Won't have enough damage to take them down, and Switch returning the fight after his respawn. Dobbos Disciples, despite being a bit down in that fight, totally were able to take it and the Oni Fury.
They still continue to pull the objective despite not finishing off the team fight. That was the biggest deal, and their cooldown's no longer available. DineOhSaw's ultimate with Rapio used to kill a Hell is very important to start things off, making it a 5-on-4 advantage for Rival. But once OPUSB got in the thick of things, this Osiris could not be peeled. Also, the positioning from Fly, he was getting off very crucial unstable vortexes through the walls, forcing out Aegis's, an early one from Dobson as he was kind of trying to be mindful of Fly's positioning. And that was the tipping point, was Fly's presence.
Fear No Evil from Rapio was also a bit awkwardly placed just because DineOhSaw just found the ultimate. I don't think you could really put blame on Rapio for that. It just happened to be bad timing for him, as a nice cleanse from Switch will stop the Sash ultimate combo. Not enough follow-up there anyways. So Rival do get some objective on the back end. DineOhSaw a bit off on that ultimate again. Been about 50-50 so far on those shots, which is fine in my mind.
It's good early game, but he's been kind of inaccurate in the late game when it matters a lot. That would have been a huge pick. Colossxl still without beads for a couple of seconds. It is now back available, and everyone else from Rival was close enough to follow up if that connects. But the good thing about that is, even though DineOhSaw looked for that play, he knew that even if he did miss, he wouldn't have been egregiously out of position that he could have gotten capitalized on. And that's the risk versus reward factor. It was a low risk, but a really high reward if he connects it.
He's got a little bit of CDR as well from the Shield of Regrowth, so he'll have that ultimate up soon enough. And with the pace of this game, I don't think there will be a fight where he doesn't have it anytime soon. Co's going to stop Davy's back, roll in, looking for some extra damage. Davy taking quite a bit, actually. Co's probably 2 autos away from being able to ult and kill him. There's one, and Co's now going to find the shots. Aegis there, third shot, not. Davy does survive. And here comes the rotation. DineOhSaw here. Maybe he would like that ultimate at this point, but the Disciples willing to take away the purple and go on their merry way.
You can really tell Vapor's Coast's aggressive style never ends despite dying multiple times, sitting at 0-3-0 for Aram to still look for plays like that. The confidence on him and the confidence on DineOhSaw to be able to sash outside of the tier 1 tower, but he misses the ult again.
There's a curse donk. Great ultimate from Fly, puts Dobson down to a sliver of HP, but here comes Rapio. Blink is available, and a Fear No Evil hits all 3 that were still there. Switch separated and killed yet again. Davy finds his 3rd in a row. And Switch, by my estimation, totally has just made next to no impact on this game.
Unfortunately not. Not against Rapio's ultimate and also the ultimate from DineOhSaw, his second previous death, as Vapor's Coast now forced to dash away defensively. Gonna go under that tier 1 tower thanks to Fly's portal. Still gonna get dove, forced to use that Aegis. Third World Serpent Strike gonna be used defensively. And this Hell, I agree, sitting at 0-3-0, not the slash stun that you would want without any assists, but it's not as though Rival are getting much objectives off of this. After the second previous Switch death, they couldn't even secure the Oni Fury. So the fact that they're only getting a tier 1 mid tower, I'm not super worried about Switch yet, because a Hell late game at level 20, support or otherwise, is still a Hell late game.
It's going to be tough to deal with, but I think we're going to need a little bit more from him than what we've seen so far. If we look at player healing done, we haven't, he's very low on the player damage charts. He does have 6,000 player healing, which is a lot. He's basically negated all of the damage DineOhSaw has done. Look at this. Fire Giant started by Dobbos Disciples. And Predators doesn't seem too wary of it. Davy's going to get a hint as Colossxl zoning. Rapio going to jump forward. No blink for him. And Dobbos Disciples are going to get the Fire Giant. Ultimate there from Rapio is really just a last-ditch effort to try and get the fight going their way. Davy's still all the way in the front line. He didn't get the memo. And now Colossxl's going to try and chase him down, but the snipes might do it for him. USB's gonna get the final hit as Predators are hunting in the back line. Gonna knock up a couple here, actually on a Switch and Fly. Dobson does get that final hit as DineOhSaw gonna take USB to the sky underneath this tier 2 tower. Just enough damage. They're gonna need it in order to bring him down. Dobson notches himself a double. The portal stops the X-Cube, but the Dobbos Disciples still get it. It's a 3-for-2 in Dobbos Disciples' favor, but don't forget, they got the Fire Giant as well.
That's true. Dobbos looking for a couple of more picks under that tier 2 tower. Still having Vapor's Coast with red buff and Fire Giant, but gonna back on off after that. I think Rival are counted their lucky stars. They only lost 3 members there. Very bold was Davy, kind of staring at a giant, literally in front of all of Dobbos members after completing the FG. A lot of sustain there between that objective and also Switch. And yet again, that 4th death, Switch needs to not die that early in the engagements. He needs to get off multiple heals. But now with the Spirit Strobe completed, adding an additional 10% CDR, totaling 30%, could be the tipping point to keep himself alive a little longer.
Extra CDR as well to get those heals off, but man, it's been tough for him.
It has been. I totally agree. And it's the composition from Rival catering the anti-Hell strat, where you're going for CC between the Naja and the Hun Batz. I'm almost thinking that a Mad Guy's Cloak wouldn't be too absurd for the health support.
Wouldn't hurt him. I think he needs health more than anything. I mean,
350.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a little bit. Could also go, I mean, a Gauntlet of Thieves this late isn't even that bad because you stack it up pretty quickly from sieging and pushing down lanes pretty quickly. Just feels like he's dying so early, and he's got good protections now. I mean, Lotus Crown gives him a lot whenever he uses a heal. Genji's Guard is pretty solid on health, but I feel like he just needs HP. Even the tower is chunking him.
Yeah. Mad Cloak does give you about 300 to 350 health. You get like 10 to 15 protections of each. Wouldn't be a bad call, especially to negate the ultimates from Rapio and DineOhSaw, if DineOhSaw is looking for that frisky ultimate that he has been looking the way he did under that tier 1 tower on the left side. He was off the mark earlier, but that fight was saved from Rapio's ultimate. This time around, though, Dobbos does have the Fire Giant during the siege, now with a 3,000 goal lead, and Switch's sustain could be the catalyst to force the issue.
Colossxl lurking in the jungle, has his blink up. Imagine that's what he's waiting for, is the engagement to start. Rival playing it very patiently though, not coming off their tower line. This is what you see the more experienced teams do. A lot of teams will get antsy feet around this part and try and find a blink engage with Naja or something like that, but there's no reason. Sit here and wait.
Surprise Fly's not going for that red buff on the ground after Colossxl picked that one up. Instead, still looking for the through space and time, uses it, but it doesn't hit anyone.
Predator is a little bit low already. It's Fear No Evil on the back line. Big dive happening from Colossxl as he gets ulted by DineOhSaw, now surrounded by 4. Fatal Strike still available, and he's going to use it to try and escape, but he's body blocked now. He and Coast both go down simultaneously. Rapio finds himself the triple kill, and all of a sudden, Rival flipped the script to 4 for nothing. And now it's their turn to siege.
What just happened? Predator zoning all 4 members away the same exact way that Colossxl was trying to do. And I don't like the fact that Colossxl was the one zoning. That needs to be a solo laner's job. OPUSB should have been in that backline a little bit longer, because you're not going to peel a Jormungandr. It's just not possible. The World Serpent is going to be a thing. You just need to be able to heal up and use Switch's sustain, but instead, all that damage, Colossxl dies early. His Fly is going to portal away safely under his own Phoenix. And with all that damage from Predators, the AoE damage rather, Switch dies and the rest of the team fight just goes Rival's way.
No Phoenix though for Team Rival. Switch, or Fly rather, uses his beads, but I think well worth it to knock DineOhSaw and Dobson down to 10% apiece. That may have dissuaded the Phoenix siege. It is tier 2 towers though for Team Rival, and now that Fire Giant is off of Dobbos Disciples, it's Rival with the slight advantage, though 28 minutes in to have a 2K lead feels pretty negligible at this point.
The issue that I'm seeing in that last fight was Fly used his ultimate too early to force the engage, and with that ultimate being down there, if that fight goes south, then there's no escape plan. Right. You have no plan B because you're trying to go all in, and clearly that didn't work out for Dobbos, so they need to switch it up in round 2.
Switch building into what could be a sovereignty, could be a Midgardian male. He's got a couple options.
And it is going to be the Midgardian male.
Okay. Yeah, Midgardian seems okay here. I mean, keeps Davey off of you a little bit. Just, again, health, physical protection, things that he was kind of lacking overall in the build. But another fight goes by where Switch does next to no damage. Healing may have been there, but it didn't end up mattering.
I'm not liking the fact that he has yet to purchase the Mad Guy's Cloak. He really needs to be able to prevent a lot of these CCs to get off the sustain. Grouping around Fire Giants. Not present is Vaporish Coast, though. Going for the back camps, waiting for this red buff to spawn.
If Rival were omniscient, this would be a good time to take the fight, but alas, here we are. They're going to wait it out. Coast now will give up that information that he's not here as he's heading towards the wave. It's a big one on the left-hand side, so a necessity to clear that out, but maybe giving up that info, and sure enough, as soon as that happens, Rapio begins to move forward. No relics at all for Fly for about 10 seconds. Look at how far back he is in a safe spot.
An important back, actually, for Vaporish Coast, going from tier 2 Titan's Bane into the fully evolved version of it. Only tier 2 is Davey, though, so going to be able to win that DPS race is Dobbos' Hunter now grouped up in a 5-on-5 as DineOhSaw does look for the sash. Purification beat still being held onto, just forcing a cleanse instead.
Good poke on the DineOhSaw. That was courtesy of Fly.
Seek them out.
Rival doesn't even feel confident in their ability to pull Pyro with overall safety. There is an Oni Fury up, and Predator is actually on the left-hand side of the map right now, but he can traverse it very, very quickly. Predators has not gone for a tanky build whatsoever. It's Gem of Isolation into Divine Ruin, so doubling, tripling up on that anti-heal in a lot of ways with this build. But he's just trying to get into the back line and then immediately begin to channel that ult.
And it's working for him, and I don't fault him, especially with how aggressive his style is as a player, right? Like, he'll play characters that goes in the back line, and as long as he can deal the damage, he's totally fine with giving up his life for it, and this build demonstrates that, going for the Sunder. He has no defensive way out outside of the ultimate.
Fire Giant dance continues between these two teams, though it looks like Davey is considering going for that Oni Fury. All of a sudden, everyone just decides, yeah, we don't really feel like that anymore. We're gonna head over to the left, see what happens, you know? Just shake it up a little bit. Fly's clearing a left wave, Davey is lurking, he just picked up red. Oni Fury is available here, and it looks like that vision is controlled by Team Rival. Davey it won't take him too long to shred that objective, but without vision of that Fire Giant, now with Oracles going Dobbos Disciples' way, we've truly hit the stalemate.
We definitely have. I don't mind teams switching up by going for the left side farm. There's a lot of mobility for Dobbos having Fly on the Janus between not only the portals, but the threshold for him and his allies. But riskier for Rival to make that same rotation, trying to match it up. Switch recognizing exactly where Predators is. Gonna have to try to retreat momentarily, but Predators not going to get capitalized on quite yet. Dobbos a little bit too far away, but that's not going to stop OPUSB from wrapping around as the rest of his team is going to start this objective.
Rapio's on the right, Fly there to check him, but he does get the tier 1. Predator is on
Spotted.
the ward now. Going to be revealed. Stun coming onto Predators, but Oni Fury down to about half. Dobson lurking behind the wall, looking for a potential steal. Gonna drop the damage, and Oni Fury reset. Goes nowhere. Switch thought about re-pulling it. Davey also thinking about it. It'll be DineOhSaw that hits it. And then it pops the heal. Teleport coming in, that'll be Predators, who pops out. Could go for the exact same style of flank. This time gonna go into the stealth before hitting the ward, but I think he was heard. Good attention to detail there by Dobbos Disciples, as now they will be the ones pulling the Oni Fury.
Fly was split pushing on the right side, now making his rotation in the mid lane, taking a little bit of poke as DineOhSaw with the damage coming from the Dragon Flames. That's enough to allow Rival to get the Fury, but look at this. Fly just uses his ultimate.
Come through the portal as well. Predator's stunned, but not a lot of damage. Big Fear No Evil though, and overpowered USB gets erased. Another good ultimate from DineOhSaw as well. We'll take switch up and switch down. It's a double kill for Davey as he takes a celebratory ride on the horse. Team Rival now with a great opportunity to go towards the Fire Giant.
Rapio's ultimates has been on point so far. Not only hitting out switch, but also connecting onto OPUSB. Hell, getting control during that duration is just not good for them, as Predators actually gets taken out by VaporScope, zoning a little bit too long, now up in the sky, just trying to poke out Davey. He realizes the Fire Giant wasn't stealable.
Uh-oh, it might be now though. Walking in, Rival do secure the Fire Giant, but boy was it close. Colossxl was right there with the blink, but just couldn't quite steal it away. Predators did get punished for zoning pretty deep. That build from Coast certainly good at knocking down the HP of a tanky solo laner, or in this case, a not particularly tanky solo laner. But Rival do get the enhanced Fire Giant on 4 out of 5 members.
And speaking of non-tanky solo laners, OPUSB fell very quickly that last engagement, almost like a hot knife through butter. He sold his Berserker Shield now to pick up height of Nemean line, recognizing that, all right, enough's enough, Rapio. Your physical damage a little bit too high now. Might as well try to reflect some of it also back onto Davey. I don't know necessarily how many stacks of that Osiris passive he had, but it must not have been at full force, because that would have been 16% extra mitigation, going a long way.
No HP in the build at all, though, for USB. I mean, it's 250 from the hide of the Urchin, and that's it.
I think Oni's gives like 100 health.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah, about 100 health from Oni's, sure. So he's got, what, an extra 350 health in the build?
350. That's about it.
That's
it's
just
not
a lot.
enough. It's definitely not enough, but once he sells off the Glad Shield, which I'm hoping he will, that he'll get either extra protections in the form of Mantle of Discord, 65 on each is plenty to disregard the amount of HP, or maybe even go for a Merguardian Mail for his own sake.
Could also be something like a Talisman of Energy, some magical defense and health at the same time. His rival looking to break the base on this left-hand side. Dobson playing the Merlin, pretty good for poke. Here comes Rapio, Blink Fear No Evil, forces Coast up into this guy quickly, and he'll return right back down. Switch can't find the heal, and that almost punishes him, but Coast has the Aegis. Left side Phoenix still standing though, as Rapio can't say the same. Davey also hits the grave. Good Aegis was anticipating the Unstable Vortex, but it wasn't quite there. Big damage though, Colossxl finds the double kill. Predators almost gets down, but not quite. It's a triple for Colossxl. And again, exactly what happens to Dobbos Disciples on the left-hand side. They try and siege and they get 4 for 0, has now happened in Team Rival.
Hell is online, baby. Switch making the difference this time. DineOhSaw, the only one left standing out of Rival. Dobbos Disciple going to easily pick away the Naja with the Fatal Strike, but I don't know if that's enough to end the game, but it should be enough to at least get the left side Phoenix.
I mean, they've got so many towers remaining, Tully. I don't think they can end. You've got tier 2s in each lane. I like what Fly is doing, push up this mid wave at least for a little bit, but I don't know if they'll be able to end here.
Definitely not. I don't think that they can end, knowing that everyone from Rival outside of DineOhSaw is going to be up. So it is going to be a 5-on-4. They should have a window to maybe force this left side Phoenix, but it's going to be close. Rapio is up, and he has Fear No Evil.
No blink for him. He's going to have to get in the old-fashioned way. Lurking, left-hand side. Fear No Evil used purely as a defensive option, but the wave wasn't even there yet. Now that it is, this Phoenix should go down, though Dobson has returned as well. That might be enough. Yeah, everyone's up. And Switch still trying to get out, but just quite can't. Davey gonna be able to get the finishing blow. I believe that was an Odibo proc that got the job done. Colossxl looking for the portal, and Predators denies him with the duck. Easy kill for Predators, and now he's gonna keep the chase going. Slows consistently onto USB. That's enough CC. The USB's gonna fall for sure, as the sieging continues to be a problem for both teams.
The problem was Colossxl never got in the face of Rapio to stop the Fear No Evil on the left side Phoenix. There was a lot of little factors that prevented Dobbos from getting the left side Phoenix, such as Fly, split pushing middle, but I don't mind that idea, trying to get multiple towers. But if you're zoning away the enemy jungler where you know he's going to be dropping the ultimate, you can't just let him walk up. He didn't jump, he didn't monkey bounce teleport, he literally walked up and used that ultimate just as a stall tactic. As an Achilles or as any frontliner, you don't have to necessarily get the mini Nacro right away. You could just do the same thing that Rapio did. He walked up, Colossxl could have walked up and stunned Rapio before the Fear No Evil.
Just didn't happen, and you're right, Fly not being there, I mean, his damage would have gotten that left side Phoenix for sure. I liked him pushing the waves, but you gotta be there for the fight.
I do too. He had his ultimate, it could have been used a little earlier, but instead, little, too late. It's gonna be a Rival now with the ball back in their court. Essentially, gold is even. It's a non-factor to even discuss, as Fire Giant respawning in less than 30 seconds. Dobbos, they have the health sustain, but it hasn't really been working out too much. Switch has just been getting controlled for a majority of these fights.
Look, I get it. Switch is there to cleanse and heal. But you gotta have more than 3,000 player damage in 40 minutes. I mean,
Not really.
by accident, right?
Nah, not as a health support.
I mean, if you're just sitting in light stance the whole time, I guess.
Pretty much,
but
because you have to anticipate the ultimate from Rapio, so you're constantly looking for those cleanses, right? And he's looking for, with his CDR build, he should be looking for even more heals.
Asclepi is there to try and boost those as well.
Which I'm not a fan of, actually. I like the Rod of Tahuti for the extra heals because of the extra magical power healing your allies that are under 50% health.
USB gonna use the ultimate. Flies hit, ult hits onto Rapio. That'll force him to jump away as Davey on the run as well. Colossxl can't quite finish him, but Fear No Evil is there and hits nothing but air. Predator's already in that World Serpent on the back line, has done some poke damage, but that's what Switch is here for. He can heal up everybody pretty easily. Colossxl still trying to frontline as effectively as he can, but look at that massive fire wave coming into the Titan on the left-hand side.
That could be an issue. DineOhSaw going to look to stop people from backing, but it's too late. OPUSB gets off the back. That would have been a huge wave. About 3 or 4 waves worth. DineOhSaw, Dobson, Rapio, Predators looking for a 4-on-3 collapse on the right side jungle.
Great knock-up hits on a 2 by Predators. Blink there from Rapio as well as he'll jump over that unstable vortex and get the kill on the Vaporish Coast. Nicely done by Rapio and Predators, 2 longtime teammates, diving that back line nicely. And now Dobbos Disciples going to try and regroup and defend this enhanced Fire Giant. Oh,
DineOhSaw going to get knocked up. No one from Dobbos able to capitalize off of that. Looking for Predators on the right side. Fly did a good job surviving that last fight, beating away the engage from DineOhSaw, being able to reposition. But it just wasn't enough because of the minions that flooded the throne room from Dobbos Disciples. As good as PvP is in SMITE, there's always the PvE consideration as well.
Do you think they needed to send 2 back, though? Because that's what tells Rival that they should go, is that they see 2 people back in the fountain and they've got a 5-on-3?
Possibly. Hard to call it right at this instance, but with that one pick, Vaporish Coast still dead for 15 seconds. It's up to OPUSB to at least stall out a little bit.
Doing that pretty well so far, but he doesn't use Lord of the Afterlife to get away. Colossxl here will find a stun. He got here via the ultimate from Fly, which did not find a home. Fire Giant had regen up to 2/3 HP, but pulled again. Davey ends up tagging it. Certainly can't withstand that damage for very long. Colossxl still here and on the front line, gets some healing from Switch. That's enough to send Rival back.
It's because they understand Vaporish Coast has revived now. That 5-on-4 power play has been negated. Everyone back from Dobbos, and they're going to be the ones probably pulling this objective. Rival aren't too concerned, though, because they understand that OPUSB is defending that left side weakened Respawn Phoenix. Going to allow Fly, actually, to hold on to it.
The much better clear there for the Janus. He'll push out the last few fire waves and can still get over to affect the fight. He'll have his ultimate up very soon. Fly has sold his boots for a Do More, an item that is probably under purchase. It is very expensive, but in these long games like this, you can make it work, certainly, for you. The big thing is that Janus has the majority of his best fighting in the jungle, where you're not getting Do More stacks.
But it's what, 120 power?
Yeah, I believe so.
That synergizes very well with the Rod of Tahuti. DineOhSaw taken up in the sky. Probably not the target he wanted, though.
USB able to get out of that.
Oh!
Cleanse and Fly flattens Rapio with that through space in time. Colossxl now trying to keep the fight going. No, it's Fly. He's going to take a portal in, drop an unstable vortex. That'll chunk down Davey and let Colossxl keep the fight rolling. Combat dodge doesn't hit. Fly still on the chase. Looking for Dobson now, but can't quite find that one. Great turnaround from Dobson. Actually should have Colossxl dead here with a frostbolt, but he misses. It'll be up soon, but not soon enough. DineOhSaw on the run from USB by the mid lane. He should be able to get away with that increased movement speed. But Coast looking for the kill.
Looking for it. Misses the first. Second off the mark as well. Third one wouldn't have even mattered. Vaporish Coast trying, unsuccessful. Fire Giant still up left side. Phoenix respawn for Dobbos. A good turnaround play. One through space and time is sometimes all you need. We saw Venenio actually on Thursday, I believe it was, with a great pick onto Oceans.
Predators chunked. No ultimate for him. He's in trouble. USB gonna keep the chase going, and Coast will chew him up and spit him out. That's number 3 for Vaporish Coast. Bit of an up-down whiffs through space and time. Clips the heel of Davey, but he's got some well-fitting shoes and it doesn't land. DineOhSaw with a good ultimate. Rapio gonna blink in. Fear No Evil onto Coast. He finds one, gonna turn and try and find the other. No, he's gonna keep the back line alive as USB ends up falling to the damage from Dobson. I mean, I feel like Dobson should have been able to get, Dobbos should have been able to get something off of the kill.
They should have. That through space and time was so close to perfection. The botched ultimate from OPUSB didn't get the max distance that he wanted to. He wanted to kind of flick the camera all the way up, and instead went a little bit too short, missing the target. Colossxl gonna get stunned out by DineOhSaw now, looking for the portal out of Fly, just getting through that.
Fly has played so well this game, though. 4-0 and 6, no deaths for him. Top of the player damage charts overall. Not an easy feat on Janus, especially in games like this where there's quite a bit of scrapping. It's been really back and forth. 22-13, rival lead in the kills, but it is truly anyone's game.
It's funny to see this set still go the same length in terms of the very last game we just saw at a PlayStation Europe, but not having anywhere near the same amount of kills. Almost 100 kills in 51 minutes. Collectively, only 35 in this one.
Much more methodical, I would say. And that's kind of what you expect. I mean, the PS4 region, still newer as a whole. Competitive play on the PS4 has not been around nearly as long as that on the Xbox. And even among the Xbox teams, these are two of the much more seasoned ones. Specifically guys like Rapio, Predators, OverPoweredUSB, Coast. I mean, these guys have been around the scene for quite some time now. Veterans.
Switch now working for Mantle of Discord after selling those boots, picking up the elixir speed. Colossxl looking for the pick onto Predators. Might need to whirl Serpent away, but no, everyone from Dobbos a little fearful from Rapio's presence. Those Fear No Evils have been the make it or break it for Rival. If he's alive, Rapio, Rival succeed. If not, because of Fly's ultimate, then Dobbos wins.
In that last commit that was all in on the USB, it was Fear No Evil after Windfire Wheels, was all negated by one cleanse from Switch. It was perfectly timed in the right spot, the right time. Wasn't close enough to get feared, but close enough to use the ability. So the Hell pick working out in that fight for sure. No other character could have done that for you, except maybe a Geb. DineOhSaw sashes in, but he's got Lono's mask now, so he doesn't have a whole lot to fear. Though, of course, he's going to do significantly less damage at the same time. It's a Rival with control of the pit, but still good ward coverage there from Dobbos Disciples. They're the ones with the sentry on the fire.
It's OPUSB now trying to see what he can do, tethering Predators. Not going to keep pressuring to find the stun. But look at DineOhSaw in the back line. Colossxl looking for the stun. Off the mark there. Pulls the Fire Giant aggro, needing to reset it. But instead the target is OPUSB. No one there in range. And one of these teams is going to eventually have to pull the trigger. But at this point, at 48 minutes in, the respawn timers are about 65 to 70 seconds. A full 2.5 waves worth of pushing power time could cost you the game if you misstep.
DineOhSaw looking for Switch. Switch will pull the trigger on the cleanse, but DineOhSaw had given up the chase by then. Fly back over towards the duo lane with that wave. It started to inch its way towards the Phoenix once more, but he's there to clean it up in time. Pyromancer down in Rival's favor. USB on the receiving end of a sash, but cleanse there for him as well. Don't think we'll see DineOhSaw be ulting OverPoweredUSB anytime soon. After their last fight, didn't go their way because of that.
OPUSB in a 1v4 does get cleansed and healed up a little bit longer. DineOhSaw going to drop the ring bounce, looking for the engage. Meanwhile, Predators almost getting soloed by Vaporish Coast.
Aegis need to be used. USB is actually on the receiving end of that ultimate from DineOhSaw, and it does next to nothing. It does chase out his ultimate and his thorns, but he can go back to base. Doesn't even really need to teleport back in at this point, I don't think, but he will. Better safe than sorry.
He wants to make sure that when this fight breaks out at the Fire Giant, once Rapio engages, that he is present. No fear, no evil out of Rapio. Still trying to zone his OPUSB. It's a full-on engage from Dobbos. They leash the objective.
Oh, Rapio got killed by Fly again. Another big snipe, I believe, that ended up hitting him, as he didn't get anything off of that engagement. Dobson on the run as well. Has to try and flicker away. USB's gonna give up that chase and instead turn his attention back towards the rest of the squad, but Colossxl actually falls to Davey. Davey was under siege, and now he's gonna stand tall and be able to get the finishing blow onto USB. DineOhSaw finishes off Fly, in what looked like a great fight again from Dobbos Disciples. They end up dropping.
And look at the respawn timers. Over 70 seconds each. It's going to be staggered deaths if DineOhSaw and Predators can keep Switch locked down even further. Davey looking for the DPS. Good knock up. Switch still going to get slowed by the Gem of Isolation. Trying to buy any time that he can. Using the heal to increase his movement speed. But Dobson looking to cut him off.
Switch really just wasting time. They'll task Predators, I believe, with chasing him down. Well, I don't know if he really can. I mean, movement speed's there. Okay, that... Oh no, he missed the one.
Oof. I'll still chase it down, though. You don't want Hell to be able to clear the wave, slow, cleanse, and do all that stuff. And this is Rival's game to win. They found 3 picks, and they don't even need Predators to end.
DineOhSaw here to tank. Vaporesh Coast gonna have to come up big yet again, but the Titan looks awfully squishy from here. Titan down to 15%, and DineOhSaw's ultimate will seal it. Team Rival take game number 1 in just under 51 minutes.
Davey, 9-2-10 to end that game on the Hachiman was the reason they were able to win that last fight. Everyone from Dobbos got too overambitious, trying to dive beyond the tier 2 tower. Even though Rapio dies early, yes, to another great ultimate from Fly, it's just not enough. There needs to be a better, safe method to close out the game.
For me, I just feel like that Achilles jungle completely fell off the radar. I mean, if that's a Susano or even a Thor or something like that, I feel like that chase goes a lot better, but Colossxl's build, he had only Void Shield as pen, wasn't able to get in there and deal the necessary damage, and it ends up costing them in the end. Rival end up winning a long game 1. Let's throw it to the desk for them to break it down.
Wow, I would have had a hard time believing the team with the Hell would end up losing a 50-minute slugfest. But that's the tale of the tape, at least from what we saw here. Rival are the ones that come out on top here. And Taco, I mean, what was it that you saw? You heard Ryan talking a little bit about how maybe Colossxl's Achilles fell off towards the later game. What did you see here that hurt Dobbos?
I think there was just a lot that went really well for Rival in the early game. Something that comes to mind almost right away is Davey finding a solo kill in that duo lane. That's
right,
a huge win for Rival, because it alleviates a lot of jungle and map pressure for Rapio. He kind of has more time then, I think, to try and better focus out onto the mid and jungle, maybe make some more rotations into solo lane instead of having to necessarily be as confined to trying to deal with that dual lane presence from Vaporesh if Davey's already got it sorted out.
And I don't know, man. I think there might have been some value in all inning trying to limit out Predator's God Pool. They picked the Achilles and the Osiris. They banned the Bellona. But remember, they banned the Awelish because they knew the Yorm was coming. I wonder why not just ban the Yorm there, right? And really force Predators to go deep to find a god that's impactful, because I really do think he was able to have a really good game on this Jormungandr, but he wasn't the only one. Like you mentioned, Rapio had a great game on Batz. They had DineOhSaw and the Najah causing pressure. And remember, this is the critical thing they gave up, the decision point they made. Do we ban the King Arthur or the Merlin? And I think across that game, Dobson made a pretty darn good case for you having to ban the King Arthur or the Merlin, because he played it so well in this game.
I think it was just a pick-your-poison type of situation for Dobbos Disciples, no matter which way you try to break it down. Either way, Dobson winding up with the Merlin is almost just as detrimental as Predators getting sustained heavy presence from a King Arthur. So I'm right there with you, Finch. I think it's definitely a tough call to make, though, and I do respect Dobbos Disciples trying to kind of stick to their guns, where they did look to try and pressure out Dobson early on. It's just Dobson wasn't really giving them a whole lot to work with. And I think there's something to be said about the level of patience that Rapio exhibited as well on this Batz. A lot of those Fear No Evils came through at pretty clutch instances to help keep Dobbos Disciples so separated, because for this game to go so late and Dobbos Disciples to still have difficulty trying to even turn team fights into their advantage and the like, I think that that's largely because of the fact that DineOhSaw and Rapio just kept Switch constantly under pressure, preventing this Hell from really being that heavy point of sustain that I think Dobbos Disciples drastically needed in the late game.
Well, you can see it in the numbers. Only 20,000 healing in 50 minutes is lower than you'd expect from a Hell. 6,000 damage. I mean, it is, of course, the support Hell. You don't expect there to be any damage there from her, but I mean, I think they did a good job making Switch, or keeping Switch from feeling comfortable here in this game, and certainly reducing him. You saw they had anti-heal and everyone except Davey, the Brawlers, the Pestilences, they were all built. The Divine Ruins Hachiman's. I think they had 2 of those built as well. They did everything they could to limit the impact from this Hell. They had the Cursed Ankh fully upgraded as well early on in this game. So I think there was a lot of things that came together. Sure, the pick bans is whatever, but I think within the game, Rival also executed perfectly to make sure they could limit Dobbos' options. Now, it's never perfect if you go to a 50-minute game. Clearly, there's some mistakes there from both sides in that game, but Rival the ones that came out with the W, and I think that they did a little bit more.
It was clean enough, I think, at the end, where Predators really just became way too much of a nuisance for Switch on that Hell. I mean, we even saw him chase the man around for the last few minutes of that game so that Rival could even close it out. So an adjustment I would definitely like to see for Dobbos Disciples in Game 2 would be probably to take away that Jorm from Predators as opposed to the Awelish target bans onto Rapio.